The desperate search for an adorable 2-year-old toddler. Police in Roanoke, Virginia have issued an Amber Alert for little Aveion Lewis. Cops, along with the FBI, desperately hunting for any sign of this adorable, precious child. Aveion, 2.5 feet tall. He weighs only 26 pounds. He was last seen wearing his yellow SpongeBob SquarePants footy pajamas. The boy's stepfather says 3 men broke into the family's home and abducted the toddler last Thursday at about 5 p.m. He says the thugs hit him over the head and knocked him unconscious. The stepdad says when he woke up, he found his 4-year-old daughter bound and gagged and his little stepson missing. The family says Aveion's abductors also left behind a bizarre ransom note demanding $10,000. More on that in a moment. Here is the stepdad talking to HLN affiliate WDBJ.
I heard a knock at the door. I went to the back door, and all I remember was boom. That's all I remember. When I came to, my wife was standing over me, and my son was, you know what I'm saying, he was crying. And my daughter, she was gagged upstairs in her room, and that's all I remember.
Little Aveion has a health problem because he was born prematurely. His stepfather says the child needs to be kept warm. So if these mystery men have this child, the clock is ticking. Meanwhile, Issues reached out to police to ask if anyone in the child's family has a criminal history or a history with Child Protective Services. Police refused to comment. What do you think about this nightmarish story? I'm taking your calls. I want your theories, your thoughts, your questions. 1-877-JVN-SAYS. That's 1-877-586-7297. Straight out to my outstanding expert panel. Robbie Ludwig, psychotherapist and contributor to care.com. Hi, Robbie.
Hi.
Judge David Young, television and radio legal commentator. Great to have you here tonight, Judge.
Thanks, and great to be back.
John Lusich, former criminal investigator with some insight. And we begin with Michelle Segona, investigative reporter with MichelleSegona.com. Michelle, cops are very tight-lipped. But what have you been able to find out? What is the very latest here?
The very latest, Jane, is about 150 leads have come in so far on this case. The FBI have about 20 agents at various points teaming up with the local authorities in Roanoke to field out leads. And they're doing something interesting. They're passing out questionnaires to all residents within the neighborhood, asking them specific questions about anything that they saw that day, anything specific about the neighborhood. And in addition, they are asking to search their homes. So they're asking for consent to be able to go inside of these homes and to possibly search for clues and to see if there's anything else. I can confirm that investigators do have surveillance video that they are looking through. I personally called the food line in the area. They do not have any outside external cameras, but the gas station down the street may have some surveillance that police are looking into, along with a few other businesses in the area at this time. What we do know is Aveion is still missing. His 4-year-old daughter is okay. There were 2 other children home at the time, and the stepfather is now, as we just saw, speaking out. And he also has said that he has the $10,000, that they just want their son back.
Okay, he says he was knocked unconscious. Does he have any injuries? Did the stepdad go to the hospital?
At this time, what many people who have seen him in person say that his lip was split and that he does have bruises on his face. So it does appear that he was attacked.
Tonight's big issue, ransom riddle. A ransom note demanding $10,000 was reportedly left behind. Published reports claim it was written on the back of a family member's hospital bill. Aveion's uncle, the brother of the boy's mom, tells HLN affiliate WSLS that makes him kind of skeptical.
The other side of the note, it had my sister's name circled, and it was like, it's nothing personal, it's just business. We'll contact you. I find it hard to believe they came in here, tied my niece up, grabbed my nephew, and still had time to write a note with 2 different handwritings on there and get out without nobody saying it.
This case has some interesting parallels to the famous Jean Ramsey case. You may remember there a ransom note demanding $118,000 from her parents, John and Patsy. That was found inside the home. It was allegedly written on lined notepaper taken from a pad inside the house. That's why the parents fell under suspicion. They were ultimately exonerated, but that famous killing still remains unsolved. So cops have to be poring over this ransom note. left in Avein's case. We're talking handwriting analysis, fingerprints. John Lusich, you're the investigator. Your thoughts on this ransom note?
In most cases that I've seen, they go there to the scene of the crime with that note already done. They're not going to waste any time. If they're going to come in, grab that kid, and try and get out, they're not going to take time to sit down, look for a piece of paper, find a pen, and actually sit there and write that. That is the biggest suspicious part of this whole case right there.
Judge David Young, I don't understand. If somebody demands a ransom, don't they also have to tell you where you could put that ransom? Hey, you leave it here, or I'm going to call you at such and such a time and tell you where to leave it. I mean, there's none of that. It would appear. I don't know. I haven't seen the ransom note.
No, it's very suspicious. There's something rotten in Denmark. They leave other children. They take a little baby, what takes much more care to take care of than the other children. It seems to me, Jane, that there's some either family or extended family that's probably involved in this, and I hope that's where the investigators are going.
You know, it's very interesting because Robbie Ludwig, the stepfather, says that the 4-year-old child was tied up. Now, this little boy's missing. Is the 4-year-old going to be the key to this case? Is she going to be able to say, well, yes, I was tied up, or I wasn't tied up, and yes, who exactly tied me up?
Well, it depends how emotionally mature this 4-year-old is, and I imagine that they do have experts who can work with 4-year-olds through drawing and asking questions to see what they can tell us about the crime scene. But yes, this 4-year-old's going to be very important because what we know statistically is kidnapping, stranger kidnapping, is very, very rare. And what's most typical is whenever there's a kidnapping, it's somehow related to some kind of family member, usually in a divorce case, although it doesn't sound like that's the specific case in this situation.
And remember, children often unintentionally reveal the real story. Who could forget Balloon Boy, Little Falcon? I mean, he busted Dad. He said we did it all for show. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but I'm saying when you talk to that 4-year-old, police may get a lot of interesting information. But of course, children are very suggestible too, so they have to be very careful. Now, Avein's stepfather described what he said he remembered the morning his stepson was abducted. Let's take a careful look at this interview.
I seen some guys earlier that morning, but as far as right then when it happened, I don't recall no faces. I just remember black and seeing just black. That's all I remember. But I remember some guys I had seen earlier that morning on the side of my house, and also I seen some guys over here in Food Line parking lot. They were standing right out here in Food Line's parking lot, and I remember those guys. But other than that, I don't recall anything else.
Surveillance might be the key to this case, just as it was after 3-year-old Bryant Rodriguez was snatched from his home by 2 thugs last May. Cops used footage from 2 stores where the suspects had gone and released images to the public, and this precious, adorable child was found alive about 2 weeks later. Michelle Sagona, what do we know about possible surveillance video, and has there been any independent confirmation of the 3 suspects being seen or this vehicle being seen aside from the immediate family?
Well, a couple of things. First, investigators did in fact tell me that they have surveillance. They are combing over that now. And I would imagine, Jane, and you know as well as I know, as the days go on and the tips start to wear off, if they do have something tangible, they will put that out to us. So that's something that we're waiting for at this time. And that's the first thing. The second thing is that you have to think, this crime happened in the early afternoon hours. 911 was called at 6:41 p.m. By someone inside of the residence. Investigators will not say who, but it's possibly believed to be the child's mother. And so if anyone saw anything, this neighborhood does have a lot of houses, they could have possibly seen these 3 suspects.
And we're going to analyze the stepfather's body language, the hat, the looking down. All right, everybody stay right where you are. More on the desperate...
The family needs to get out a more recent picture of this child. The picture they're showing, he appears to be about 18 months old. Aveion is going to be 3 years old. I believe it's January 26th. So the picture that we're all seeing, this child is much more, is older looking now and could look quite a bit different at 3 than he does at 18 months. I mean, he'll have the same sort of features, but he's going to be 3. And they need a more recent photo. Somebody put up a recent photo of this child, please.